Good evening. I'd like to call this Committee of Adjustment meeting to order. Note that all the council is present. And from staff, we have Dan, Alex, Kevin, Maury, and Kathy. And on the line, Blair and Cynthia Mills are with us. We have a resolution to approve the agenda.
Moved by Councillor Tate, seconded by Councillor Hatfield. Resolved that the agenda for the Committee of Adjustment meeting scheduled for Tuesday, March 16, 2021 be approved.
All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Any announcements? Seeing none. Declaration of pecuniary interests. Seeing none, we'll move to a resolution to approve the minutes from Tuesday, February 16th. Resolution.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, seconded by Councillor Tate. Resolved that the following minutes of the Municipality of Wawa Committee of Adjustment be adopted as presented. Minutes of a Committee of Adjustment meeting held on Tuesday, February 16, 2021, as contained on pages 1 to 3, inclusive of the minute book.
Any questions? All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Nothing under old business. New business 7.1, approve the actions of the Secretary Treasurer. We have a resolution.
Moved by Councillor Tate, seconded by Councillor Hatfield. Resolved that the Municipality of Wawa Committee of Adjustment does hereby approve the actions of the Secretary Treasurer with respect to the notification of the following applicant. A1-21, Blair and Cynthia Mills for minor variance to zoning bylaw number 2821-15 as amended, respecting 39B and 39C Long Beach Road, described as Plan M123, Lot EQ 103, Part Parcel 550, Mishpacotton, closed SRA, Part Parcel 12052, Algoma West Section, Registered Plan 1R 8089, Part 3, in the Municipality of Wawa to allow an increase in the maximum lot coverage from 10% to 17.5% and an increase to the maximum height from 10.5 meters to 12 meters to permit the property owners to construct a new building on the subject property.
Okay, so the actions of the Treasurer, Secretary Treasurer, make sure that all proper notifications are sent out. Are there any questions? All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. 7.2, application for a minor variance. Blair and Cynthia Mills, 39B and 39C Long Beach Road. We have a resolution.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, seconded by Councillor Tate. Resolved that application A1-21 submitted by Blair and Cynthia Mills for a minor variance to allow an increase in the maximum lot coverage from 10% to 17.5% and an increase in the maximum height from 10.5 meters to 12 meters to permit the property owners to construct a new building on the subject property located at 39B and 39C Long Beach Road. Be and is hereby granted for the following reason. No objections were received.
Thank you. Kevin, did you want to comment on anything?
No, I reviewed the application before it was submitted.
Okay. Any questions from council? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Is there still the 21-day waiting period?
It's a 20-day appeal period.
Okay. And the applicants will be made aware of that, or are aware of that?
Yes.
Very good. Okay, thank you. A motion to adjourn.
Moved by Councillor Tate. Resolved that the meeting adjourn at 6:33 p.m.
All in favor? Carried. Well, thank you, Blair and Cynthia, for participating. It was very quick and easy. So moving on to our next meeting. And I'll call the Court Planning Committee meeting to order. Note again that all members of council are present, as well as staff. We have Dan, Alex, Kevin, Maury, and Kathy, as well as I understand we have guests from
Power.
Power. Right. So we disclose any pecuniary interests. Seeing none, we'll move to the approval of the agenda. We have a resolution for that.
Verbal.
Verbal. Moved by Mitch. All in favor? It's carried. And we're at number 4, delegations, a presentation from Untitled Power. Whenever you're ready to go, we can see you all here on the big screen coming up.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone. So maybe I'll just start with a quick round of introductions. I'm used to seeing everyone else on the call because we're familiar with the teams, but I'll start with a quick introduction myself, and then I think I should be joined with two others from Algoma Power. So I'm Michael Degilio. I'm the supervisor of the distribution engineering team at Algoma Power.
Welcome, Michael.
Hi, everyone. It's Jennifer Rose from Algoma Power, the regional manager, and I'm not sure if Peggy is going to be able to join us. I do apologize. She was having some technical issues there just late there, so she might end up joining partway through, but nice to see everyone virtually.
Great. Welcome, Jennifer.
Hi, everybody. I am Andrea Mattioli, and I'm the Vegetation Management Coordinator, and same, nice to see everyone virtually.
Hi, Andrea.
Perfect. So we'll just jump in right into the agenda then. So the first topic was with regards to health and safety. So we have last year we were in the process of drafting a formal agreement for electrical and non-electrical attachments for municipalities and townships. We are currently in the midst of finalizing those agreements, and are planning to have that complete by Q2 of this year. And we will be looking to start circulating those agreements to the various townships and municipalities. So you should see something coming from us quite shortly, actually. So the next one is with regards to environmental sustainability. So this is more just covering off some of the activities that we've done with regards to environmental sustainability. So in 2020, we partnered with Forests Ontario in a in a tree planting initiative that was intended to go in conjunction with our pole replacement program. So we had made a donation towards the cost of planting trees in an effort to replace what was used for poles as part of that replacement program. So the planting itself is actually completed by professional planters, and they do the site selection and whatnot. So we do plan on continuing that effort. We have an annual sustainment program where we go in and we replace a number of poles based on a sustainment cycle, and we would look to continue the effort to to partner with a company like Forest Ontario to continue that that environmental stewardship approach. We're also looking at continuing to invest in research and partnership opportunities that relate to other environmental stewardship activities and sustainability. And I think right now we're in the process of working with the university. So with that, I might, Jen, are you okay to speak to maybe the customer service?
I am, and I do apologize for this for everyone, but I do think that Peggy was able to get in, and I can't see her either, so she was able to join.
Good evening, it's Peggy. I am on the phone. Good evening, everyone. Sorry about not being able to connect via the internet, but certainly the phone still works, so that's great.
Welcome, Peggy.
Good, thank you. And I'm so happy that it tells you how to unmute your phone as you're sitting waiting, so perfect. Anyway, good evening, everyone. Thanks for having us all to your meeting. And yes, there is a customer service portion that I like to bring to you each year. And the first item on that is our annual road superintendent meeting. We are planning on holding one again in 2021. We did miss 2020. There was a lot of changes happening last spring that I'm sure you're all quite aware of. So to date, we are planning to have a spring target And so then the question is for you, does your road superintendent have the capacity to join a Teams meeting? Because that is the infrastructure we use.
You want to answer that? Yes, I do. Yes.
Okay.
Peggy?
And I have to tell you, it also offers you a phone in, so it's always good. You can have that second option. So, okay, perfect. We also have probably 4 years up to 2020, we had what we called our annual community engagement meeting that we held. It was open to all of our municipalities and communities within our district, our service district. And so at first we did have some interest, but it's dwindled a bit over the few years that we've had it. Basically at these meetings, we talk on a larger level of what sort of maintenance and capital work we have, other plans going forward. There's a customer service component, but it's a broader or a higher level versus what you typically hear at your meetings with us, because we speak directly to the area that impacts you directly. But the other meetings are just broader, but they're also more all-encompassing of what we're doing within our territory and not just in your service area or your municipality, I should say. So what we'd like to do is reach out and ask, is there a good time of year? We were holding them in late October, early November. Maybe it wasn't a good time of year for municipalities. So we're just reaching out and asking if there is an ability to, or actually whether or not there's an interest, and then what time of year would work. So I can certainly write to Kathy with those questions and look for a response. Does that work for you?
Yes, it does.
Okay, perfect. We held our annual customer satisfaction survey in late 2020. We typically call a sampling of our customers to see how we're doing on, it takes about a half an hour for the survey, so there is a whole lot of questions. We found some interesting things last year. There was certainly a COVID piece to the questionnaire or in the survey, because it certainly is on everyone's mind. So as a whole, 94% of our customer base did approve of our COVID communication and how we managed it, as well as it showed a high trust that they felt that, or our customers felt, we would continue managing the COVID in a good way, as far as making sure that they were aware of things, as well as programs and so forth that have come about through COVID. And it was also good from my perspective. We had an 84% very satisfied with the amount of time it took to reach a representative when customers called into Algoma. Certainly 84% is good, but we can always work for more, so we're working on that moving forward. We also, early in 2020, we had what we call our ESA, or our Electrical Safety Authority survey. And that survey is held every 2 years, and it is a requirement from the OEB in order to get an understanding in our service area or in the province of where consumers, where the people of Ontario are as far as their knowledge around public safety. So this is an initiative that has been going on for the last number of years, but it is every 2 years. And so what we learned in 2020 was about 50% of people in Ontario who were asked whether they should call before they dug in any sort of area answered correctly. So this is where we learn from their responses where we need to focus with our social media push-outs and our newsletters in order to get more information out around public safety. So that was one of the items. There was also, I'm just turning my page here, 94% answered correctly to not touch power lines, so that won't be necessarily an area that we delve into as much this year. There was also a 22% who were correct when they're working in proximity to overhead lines as far as their answers. So this is a 3-meter distance, or we call it a bus length. But this is, again, an area where we will be looking at improving how much we push out that information, expecting to get some roots growing on these public safety endeavors so that we can ensure that people are aware of safety around power lines. We also have a new portal at Algoma Power. It is at our website, but it certainly features a lot more user-friendly options for our customers. We have a current e-billing contest on, so I would recommend, if any of you aren't signed up, to sign up. Even those who were on our old e-bill system, as long as you sign up on the new one, you will be treated, you will be looked at as a possible winner in our contest. We're giving away 2 $1,500 appliances, Energy Star appliances, to anyone who has signed up since December through to the end of March. So there's a bit of a time limitation on it, so try to sign up soon if you haven't signed up yet. Our website at API is at end of life, and so what that means is that we're working on a whole new presentation, and that is expected to be in place in 2021. So you can certainly get information at our website. It's just going to become a little bit dated as we move forward because we're having more challenges with getting any updates on it at this time. But certainly, if you can sign up, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, that's another place that we are reaching out and letting customers know of any programs available. Certainly, if there's outages occurring, that's how we're reaching out, primarily through Twitter, but also through Facebook. If they are larger outages, we do ensure that we go on and update accordingly through Facebook also. Another item, I don't know where your municipal office is at, but our office closed in mid-March last year to traffic, like foot traffic, and it still remains closed. We certainly have learned a lot of lessons through the last year and ways to get things to our customers that we weren't necessarily using before, and it's been pretty successful, which we're glad about. So it's interesting what you learn through times when you have to learn things that you weren't sure if it would ever work prior, but you figure it out. And I think as a whole, and when you see what our customer satisfaction survey showed, that we've managed it well, even with a closed office. So I'm pleased with that. There's a program also through the IASO. It's called Save on Energy, and it's those words together, saveonenergy.ca. And the programs cover residential, cover small business. So I would suggest it was just rolled out about a month and a half ago, the newest phase of it. So I would suggest you go online, and there might be certain programs for your office building there, for small businesses, and also for residential that might appeal and might work for you. So it's worthwhile checking out. We have an emergency contact number for Wawa, the Wawa municipality, and I'm just taking a look at it here. I have to put my glasses on. Small. Okay, so we have during or a Dan Beach extension 252 or a cell 705-914-0952 as an emergency contact, as well as we have a number 705-856-2244. And the reason that I mention these would be the numbers we would contact if, in fact, we knew that there would be a longer outage and we would want to be reaching out to coordinate messaging out about warming centers that might be in the municipality for customers who've been without power for a bit of time, especially without heat. So I just want to make sure that those numbers are still accurate.
Yes, they are. Yes,
Hey,
they are.
great. Perfect, thank you. And that is it for my update as far as the customer service side of things. So thank you for your attention to it.
Thank you, Becky.
Thanks, Peggy. So I'm just going to cover off a few more operational type updates. So the first is, so we've got a major capital facility project. So we are looking at constructing a new Sioux facility. The one we're in is no longer going to be available in the near term. So we're looking at constructing a new facility that's going to be ultimately located in the Sioux area. It made sense just from location-wise for access to customers and what kind of type of infrastructure was available. And right now, the planned completion date is Q3 of 2022. So we're also in the process of looking into NRCan is providing. They've released a program for they call it the NRCan Zero Emission Vehicle Infrastructure Program, and it's a funding program that's available through the federal government. With the intent or it was established essentially to meet Canada's zero emissions vehicle targets, and the program itself provides incentives for businesses, municipalities, and entities like that to offset some of the costs associated with purchasing and installing the level 2 chargers for electric vehicles. So Algoma Power through Fortis Ontario is looking to partner with municipalities and townships. Right now there is a minimum threshold of 20 chargers per applicant, or 20 chargers / partners. So right now what we're doing is we're reaching out to the various municipalities and townships, and you should have received some information on it by Dan Richards. Please tell me if you haven't, and we'll make sure that we forward all the appropriate information. And essentially how it would work is API would apply as the third-party delivery agent, is the term that they've used, and we would act as the essentially the project manager and manage the funding application itself. And then the partner would be the municipalities and the townships, and they would ultimately own and operate the charging infrastructure. And the program itself is intended to be geared towards implementing this type of infrastructure for municipal and township employees, like at the municipal buildings, and for like fleet related vehicles. One thing on it is right now we're looking at confirming interest from the various municipals and townships, and there is a bit of a tight timeline. NRCan's looking for confirmation from applicants as soon as April 1st. So if there is interest with within the community of Wawa, please reach out to us, and we'll provide some more information if requested, or if there's anything else that's needed before you're able to confirm. So the next one is just some other major capital projects. So we do have our regular line rebuild or pole replacement sustainment projects. For the most part, we're spread across the entire service territory. We've got a lot of poles being replaced along the Highway 17 corridor, essentially going north of Sault Ste. Marie all the way up to Wawa, and up from Wawa up to towards Marion Lake. But we've also got where we also have some replacements that we're focusing on east of the Sioux. We do have some major substation and reliability related projects. So in Duberville, we're looking to planning to build a new substation for the town to replace the main station that's reached end of life. East of the Sioux, we've got some upgrades that are to occur at what we've coined our Deborah station, which supplies the Deborah and St. Joe Island areas. And we've got some voltage related projects for providing some voltage support in the Haviland Shores, Pine Shores, and Batchewana areas, and more so in the Batchewana Goulet areas of the system. And we've also, we are continuing towards further developing our SCADA system so that we have essentially more real-time information and are essentially better able to respond to to issues and system conditions when they occur. So the other major capital projects that we are currently working on, we do have some third-party work through some fiber to the home projects through some telecom companies. So it did start last year and it's going to continue this year. So we're continuing to support that effort. One thing that has recently come to our attention is that there is some initiatives within municipalities and townships towards the installation of broadband in more rural areas. So one thing that is of interest for us in understanding is whether or not there is any broadband in the horizon for the town of Wawa. And if there is, we would definitely like to, have some discussion on it. Maybe not, during this forum, but as soon as we can, at a later date.
Yes, we would like to have that discussion for sure.
Perfect. Now I did have a brief chat with the town of Duberville, and I believe they'd mentioned that there was potentially some partnership that was occurring with the town of Wawa, but if that's the case, then great. If not, then we can still definitely, who at the township or at the town of Wawa would be the best to reach out to?
I'd reach out to Maury, our CEO.
Okay. Perfect. All right, so the next one is our vegetation management program. So annually—
Actually, Michael, sorry to interrupt you,
Yes.
Michael. Maybe before you go on, just to update the town just on our efforts with the connection with the mining companies as well.
Yes, that's probably a good one, actually. So I'm sure most of you are aware that there is some activity with regards to the mining up in the Goudreau-Duberville area. So we are working diligently with both proponents. The timing of the timing for both mining companies has presented a good opportunity to ensure that our system is going to be able to support both the requirements of both those ultimate customers at the end of the day. So the quick note here is just that we have established a project management team to help support and drive the project to completion based on the timeline that the customer is requesting. We have engaged a third-party owner's engineer to help support a lot of the study and engineering effort that's that's required as part of this connection. And maybe I'll just leave it at that. And that it's we're working diligently to to ensure that it goes ahead, and we know the we definitely know the importance of what this means for the community of the community of Wawa, the community of Duberville, and the surrounding area. So it's extremely important for us as well. Is there anything that you want to add to that, Jen?
No, oh, that's good. Thanks, Michael.
Perfect. So the next item was vegetation management. So annually, we do have a vegetation management program that is based on a like a cycled approach. Right now, we are a bit all over the place in terms of where the focus areas are going to be. Now, I guess the areas of interest would be for the Wawa area would be, we do have some brush control work that we're doing along our express feeders, along our 34.5 system, which run through, I'm just going to pull up the table here, run through, actually, Andrew, you might know the townships, if it's just the community of Wawa or if there's other townships, but it runs along the dump road from the Watson, essentially from the Watson transmission station all along into the our station, our number 2 Wawa station, right in the town itself. So that'll be the focus for the vegetation work in the Wawa area. And then there is some work towards in the Highway 101, so east of the Wawa, and then in the Lake Superior Park, which is in proximity to the community.
And the number 4 circuit.
Oh yes, and our 44 kV circuit, which is the line that runs and feeds the community of Duberville and the Alamos mining customer as well. All right, so the next item is just our reliability scorecard. So we've gone in and updated the scorecard to reflect the final 2019 values, and looking at the trend from the last 5 years, we are trending downward still, both in our SAIDI and SAFE, which would be your average duration, average frequency for all API customers. So we are still trending downward, which is a good news story. And a lot of the the station reliability projects, as well as our continued vegetation management efforts, will continue to ensure we're diligent in ensuring we've got continued good reliability, and that we continue to trend downwards. And then with that, I might hand it back over to Peggy if she's available, just to talk about the 2021 distribution rates.
We always leave the best to last. Okay, so yes, everyone's always interested in what our rate application was approved at each year. Certainly the rates come into play as of January 1st each year. And this most recent rate application shows a 0.5% increase for residential customers, a typical residential customer. It shows 0.2% increase for small generals. So that would be your offices there in Wawa. Street lighting, which you have a good deal of in Wawa, is at a 0% increase. So as a whole, it was a good year, I think, for consumers, and certainly it's good news, I think, as a whole for everyone. So that is the end of the presentation, unless any of you do have questions for us.
I don't see any questions. I want to thank you for your presentation. I always appreciate knowing what's happening in our area as that relates to Algoma Power. And we certainly look forward next year to welcome you to our actual meeting. Hopefully it'll be back to normal and everybody can feel safe and get together. So again, thank you very much, and we'll hopefully see you next year.
Yes, that's our hope too. Thank you very much. Have a good evening and stay safe.
Thank you.
We agree. Take care. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you,
everyone.
everybody.
Take
Take
care.
care.
Item 5, adoption of minutes. Have a mover, please. Moved by Bill. That we adopt the minutes from our meeting of Tuesday, March the 2nd on the paper. It's carried. Thank you. Business arising from the previous meeting. We're getting an update on the ice season. Alex, you can speak to that?
Sure, I can. So we had a conversation with Algoma Public Health around what they required for a vaccination center. So they still do require the curling surface. They were able to answer some of the questions that council had for, essentially why they're looking for such a surface, what they're looking for exactly in that surface. We did have a conversation about dates and timelines as well, in which they stated that realistically the chances of them needing it over the Easter weekend were quite low. And at the end of the day, they were able to answer our questions. So.
And I'm assuming the dates are still that what we're trying to do is this coming Thursday will be the end of curling. We'll be the mixed curling, will be the last curling for the season. And turn the curling rink plant off. That will give you 2.5 weeks, I guess, we're looking to after. So we'll try to remove that ice without having to lose the ice in the arena, and the intent is to keep the arena ice in until April 1st.
That's my understanding, yeah. So just to reinforce, it's something that we've never tried before. So as we had discussed, we have the opportunity to come back to council on the 23rd if required, if things aren't, to essentially recommend a different course of action. At this time, staff are still unsure about how it's going to work, but it's something that we only know until we try.
So Mayor, I could add, with your permission, that there is a motion on the regular agenda tonight to set out a motion with those proposed dates, open to, of course, council's direction, with the proviso that, to add on to what Alex is saying, that council understands that if staff has to change the course of action because it does not appear that the curling rink ice will be removed on time for the April 1st target date, that you will have to look at our plan and likely turn the arena ice plant off as well. So the resolution is worded in a way that it provides staff some flexibility to make that decision.
Any questions?
I'm a little bit mixed up, Alex, so you're going to have to help me out here. We want to open the rink until the 1st of April. What is the cost to us from now till the 1st of April?
It's tough to narrow down an exact value, but as best as I can figure, the difference between the rink and the curling ice is the rink is about 75% of the cost and the curling is about 25%. I have the cost for both of those things put together. So in my report, the rough 14 days of March was around, let's say, $14,000 as a rough figure. So 75% of that for just, let's say, the arena side would be to the tune of 10 to 12, roughly, right? So these figures are very similar to the figures that I've presented to council in the past, in the way that they're calculations based on plant logs and runtime and average electricity prices.
Do you have any extra people working that to be there for, like, do you have extra people working because the ice is in?
So not really, no. I mean, we have students right now who are helping us cleaning for COVID, and they've been there essentially to clean the dressing rooms in between, but they're also there to clean the dance halls and things like that. So the only difference that it would make would be in our staff schedule. So traditionally when we shut the ice off, and especially because traditionally we're not under a time crunch, we rotate our shifts so that the afternoon shift becomes a day shift. So we have 2 people on staff at once. When we're trying to take the curling ice out while running the arena ice, we'll only be able to have 1 person on a shift on any given day, except for Wednesdays and Thursdays. So the staffing itself doesn't change. It's just when we schedule people would be the biggest change.
Alex, but we do have 1 employee that stays employed longer. The longer the ice is in, we have a seasonal contract employee that stays longer. So the longer the employee stays, it does have an impact on the employment costs.
That's correct, yeah.
So that's only, is it 3 more weeks from today?
Yeah, so that employee is employed up to 1 week after the final ice out, and when we rotate off of shift to basically help get the ice out. So that person would be employed till the first week of April, the end of first week of April. So I guess technically 2 more weeks.
Okay, thanks, Alex.
Okay, and no further questions, then there will be a resolution in the regular. Under new business, memo to postpone the 2021 drag races. Short memo from Alex, that the committee made that decision. Somebody has more for information. Okay. I'm assuming, I was at a Zoom meeting last week, and they were still referring to drag races in Elliott Lake, and obviously if has all of the areas decided not to have them, or there's still some of the part of that tour that may still be open for racing this summer?
None of the tour has confirmed yet. Everybody's still on the fence and deciding whether they'd like to. Last year we were having conversations with them and they were deciding around the same time they were. So my understanding is that they know what we're recommending, and so they're going to be talking about the same thing. So we'll probably hear something within the next couple of weeks, but it's anybody's guess. Each community makes their own decision.
Okay, thank you. Item 7.2 is the memo regarding the fire training center. Kevin, did you want to comment on this at all? Or?
In the fire marshal's communique, you notice that all the training center, regional training centers are located south of North Bay and Sudbury. Makes it difficult for Wawa, Eureville, Whitewood to provide training for their firefighters. The closest places are Sault Ste. Marie, Timmins, and Thunder Bay. So my suggestion is maybe consider putting a training center in this locale so that we can bring in smaller communities closer, lowering the costs for this training, and possibly getting some revenue for Wawa, but it all depends.
Well, I think as a council, we certainly support you for if you could bring that in, because I think it's important to provide the training centers close to where people live, because majority of our, well, pretty well all of our volunteers also have jobs, and it takes them away from their jobs and their families. So it's certainly nice to be close to home for something like that. Mr. Tate?
Yeah, I think that's an excellent idea to build a training center here. You have to build like a model or something. How are you gonna? Are you gonna have instructors, or are you gonna have? How's that? What it look like?
Well, I'd have to communicate with the Ontario Fire College and find out what their specs are for a training center. My understanding is the trainers come from all across Ontario. It's not the trainers are located here. We just have the center that they come to.
Okay, and that's a smart way to do it. Have the people here and bring the trainers in instead. We bring in 3 trainers in and have 10 people or 12 people here instead. So no, I support that fully. Good idea.
Good idea. Great. Thank you. 7.3, Dan, your report for February 2021.
It's pretty straightforward, but there is one thing about the landfill that I would like to bring up.
Sure.
We are asking for a 2-year extension on the ECA to allow us to get the landfill finished. Our funding is only goes to December 2022, so this will give us added airspace for garbage and time to finish the landfill, get all the provisions done, the cell done. I've added a map, concept map to look at, just give us an idea of what we're looking at. I sat down with our two senior operators and we talked with Crescent Engineering and added a few things to it. The map didn't have wood pile or scrap steel and stuff, so we've added that. We've also added that things are put into bins instead of just concrete replacement.
Okay.
For movability to remove after once the bin's full, we can just move it to a different site.
Okay. And you anticipate any problem getting that approval?
No, it's Crescent said it should be within the next little bit.
Good.
In the ministry's hands.
A question with regards to, you know, much time you run the night shift. If we end up with early thaw, is that, it's not fixed in stone, you can change that, get guys back on the day shift if you don't need the night shift?
Yes, that's what we're currently talking about, is ending the night shift and then just have everybody come back to day shifts. We do have an afternoon shift. If the warm weather stays up, I'll probably put them on noon until 8, just to keep up with the water.
Okay, good. Are there any other questions for Dan? Yes, Pat?
Just, I see you have quite a, well, not quite a, some comments on your water meters. Can you give us a little update on what's happening with water meters?
It's a daily thing. Some read, some don't. There's always problems with them, and it's just a matter of getting hold of the people, getting to see what the problem is.
Like when you say there's always problems, is it a really high percentage, or is it like?
Not a high percentage, it's just a daily percentage.
Okay, so it's a daily problem.
It is a daily problem, yes.
Is there, is that because they're already outdated, or is it malfunctioning, or what's happening with them? The troubleshooting, like,
it's just sometimes the MXU reader just stops reading, the battery goes dead. Just a matter of replacement.
Oh, do we change those batteries?
Yes, we do. No.
Do you find, with regards to when you have an issue with a battery like that, does it misread for months until you determine it, or does the battery just go and you know that you have to go in?
It'll stop reading, period. So once it does, I believe Heather reads them very regularly, so we know exactly where it is and we'll try and get to it as soon as possible.
Good, okay. Any further questions? Thank you, Dan. 7.4, information from the fire marshal and emergency management with regards to a fire safety grant. Nice announcement. Kevin, do you wish to speak to that and what your plans are?
Well, the plans for this grant is to purchase some training equipment and some laptops so that it helps us to do online training quicker for most of the fire department. Short notice, so there's not a lot of background that we can look into to get specifically what we want, but I had an idea before this came out that I was looking for. So.
Well, you know, I think that's what you're going to see too. I'm sure over the years as online training will be something to become more popular, and if we can make it easier for volunteers to participate, that'd be great. Thank you. Keep us up to date on that. 7.5 Municipal Modernization Program, intake 2. Mario, are you going to comment on that?
Yes, just a very quick verbal update on tonight's regular council agenda. There is a motion for council to support our application to the modernization program for funding the service delivery review or the transformation study that the Municipal Government Wayfinders Group is doing for the municipality. It seemed that service delivery review reports were eligible and fit the program guidelines. We've applied for $96,000, the cost that the study was for. And the application was due yesterday, so I made the application and submitted it. And tonight the resolution is in two parts to approve that submission. But number two, one of the requirements was that council had to demonstrate that it either spent or allocated the modernization funds that it received in 2019. Back in 2019, we received from Municipal Affairs a grant of about $483,000 for modernization purposes. So that motion tonight would request the council formally recognize that those monies have been set aside specifically for the municipal building renovations and accessibility changes to this building. So it's a two-part motion asking council to accept that we apply for the funding and we set formally aside those funds specifically that are already in reserves for that purpose.
Okay, great. Any questions for me? So hopefully we'll be successful with another intake. 7.6, the Northeast Superior Regional Broadband Network. We had a discussion at our last meeting and we did not, we reserved our decision until this evening because we wanted Maury to have the opportunity to make a comment to council on this. So if you wish, Maury, to speak to it.
I think that I'd just like to summarize my report by saying I, at the Economic Development Office, was the originator of the group to bring everybody together to look at some solutions for bringing and improving broadband services to our region. There were some communities such as Pickmolburn and Duberville that have literally no broadband. And then there's communities like Wawa and Chapleau that have better broadband, although today they don't meet the specifications that the federal government is trying to achieve in terms of upload and download speeds. But having said that, the venture over the last 3 or 4 years has been challenging, but we brought together 10 communities, 5 First Nation and 5 municipalities together over the last couple of years to look at this seriously. And all our compliments go to the municipality of Duberville and Melanie Pilo for taking the charge to bring this program forward. But during that venture, from my perspective for council, which I believe all of you have recognized already, there is a cost to the municipality Wawa proposed for us to remain part of a incorporated body to ensure that the hardware and infrastructure to bring broadband to the 10 communities is implemented, but also we would act as an internet service company, meaning there would be a regional company to serve the regional customers. So we would become salesmen. We would become part of a corporation that would try to sell people cell plans and internet plans in the region. There were applications for funding made to several federal and provincial programs. We received some money from the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund of about $1 million that went to building broadband. You'll see some of the poles and infrastructure going into Duberville. But a lot of other funding applications were made, and it was always my understanding that those applications would fund most of what would be required from the communities to invest in building out broadband. But over time, when those funding applications aren't approved and people are very anxious to get going, many communities, they're asking the municipality to commit to a 20-year contract at $60,000 a year, $5,000 a month. So that would be $60,000 a year or $1.2 million over a 20-year period that we would have to commit to become part of this corporation. In my opinion, that was never the original intent. And it would put, I think, some burden on future councils that this council may not want to impose upon the next, I think it was 3 or 4 councils that would be committed to this. On top of that, I wanted council to know that Although I think it's a great project, that right now we spend about $42,000 a year for our phone and internet services. So we'd be paying more for this new service. And we had already negotiated with Shaw, which I made sure that Shaw will honor, even though they're potentially being bought out by Rogers. That would see that our monthly cost for phone and internet would reduce to about $1,560 per month, or a 50% reduction to what we're already paying now. So we're already looking at going down to about $20,000 a year for our phone and internet services. So again, if we compare that to the requirement of the $60,000 of the NSRBNC Community Corporation, I can't recommend to council that council consider joining the corporation to be at this time. On that side of it, that should the corporation access government money or demonstrate in the business plan and the 10 legal documents that are still under development, that it would be beneficial for the community of Wawa and its residents to join. Duberville and those communities involved have indicated that communities can join at any time. So even though we're declining or recommending that council decline to participate at this time, it doesn't mean that we might not come back to council, or council decide at a future date to join if the business seems to make sense for the community of Wawa. So that's basically my recommendation. And I also recommend that council continue to support that staff still stay part of the project as supporters, and add some in-kind support whenever we can to Duberville and those communities who determine that they would be part of this corporation to move forward.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? That resolution will come up in regular. 7.7 memo request from Mr. Broughton Golf Club. Maury, will you speak to that?
Yes, there were two separate recommendations, and the first recommendation made on the from the golf club was following council's approval last year, that they requested that their capital purchases from 2020 be considered as a payment on the outstanding equipment loan that the municipality holds for the golf course. And in 2016, municipal council lent the golf club a loan of about $133,000. They're asking that $77,900 be written down on that loan this year. That equals their 2020 capital purchases without HST, and that meet the guideline of capital, which would mean that if council agreed, as it did last year on a write down of about $13,000, that the golf club would owe an outstanding amount of about, I have it in my report, can't find it, but around $33,000 would be left outstanding on the $133,000 loan. Council approved that last year. As I note in my report, I checked with the auditors. This is acceptable accounting practices and not against any audit. Staff does recommend that council accept the request to write down the loan equal to the capital spent in 2020. The second part of that proposal came in a separate letter from the golf club to the municipality, asking for some additional financial assistance. And basically the financial assistance would be to help the club with its 2021 operations and into the future, to help them with their operating costs, or that funds be provided that they could designate into reserve funds to plan for long-term capital purchases that the golf club may need in the future. In reviewing the financials, of which the golf club has been very transparent and shared with council, they did well in 2020 and they're not projecting a deficit in 2021. They were asking for any financial assistance to help out with things like fuel purchases, fertilizer, grass seed, and our staff support on helping to increase memberships. But after the review of the municipal operating budget for 2021, the council, and we will review the operating budget with council next week at a special meeting on Tuesday. Staff doesn't recommend that council add additional financial support to the golf club in 2020, given the fact that COVID-19 is still adversely impacting the municipality on the revenue side, that we have to build our reserves in 2021 for upcoming capital purchases and long-term planning projects that we have in the mix. So council's recommending to staff that we could help in the following ways, that we permit the golf club to purchase our fuel from the municipality. So through Alex, the golf club could purchase fuel that we get at a bulk rate through our local area services, our last program. They're substantially lower, so that through Alex, the golf club could purchase fuel, saving the club approximately $1,000 a year. That Alex's department continue to work with the golf club to promote youth and special events and help the club to market these events to youth. The municipality will include the golf club in any marketing and advertising programs that we undertake, whether it be signage or pamphlets or what we're doing to promote people to go to the golf course. And the municipality will support the club to establish a not-for-profit corporation. Right now, the golf club is a shareholder corporation, and as a shareholder corporation, they're not eligible for the majority, if not all, government funding programs to come out, which is very unfortunate because as shareholder private corporation, government grants, don't go to organizations where profits are shared among individuals. So that the municipality will help the golf club to reincorporate as a not-for-profit, making it eligible for future grants. So we, as a municipality, can provide a lot of in-kind support and some small financial support when requested of the club, but for 2021, staff is not recommending that we add on additional cash support this year.
Any questions from one?
So those recommendations go back to their board now?
If council agrees, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And I apologize, I can't recall, Kathy, is there a motion tonight on the
Yes,
regular?
there is.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Great, thank you. There's no in camera. So our next meeting is Tuesday. This is a special corporate, but the next regular corporate meeting is Tuesday, April 6th. And we'll move over to adjourn. Moved by Robert, all in favor? Carried, thank you. So we will move right into our regular council meeting. We'll call the meeting to order and note that all members are present. We haven't lost anyone since the last meeting. Kathy will note that. Disclosure of pecuniary interests. Seeing none, we'll move to approval of the agenda. We have a resolution.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, seconded by Councillor Tate. Resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting council scheduled for Tuesday, March 16, 2021 be approved as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Thank you. There are no delegations or presentations, announcements, and giving a notice. There were a couple of changes. I've got them just marked on mine. Are they marked on the other stuff there?
Yes.
Okay. So the events that are happening. Information. We have adoption of minutes to our regular council meeting of Tuesday, March 2nd. We have a resolution.
Moved by Councillor Tate, seconded by Councillor Hatfield. Resolved that the following minutes of the meeting of council be adopted as presented. Minutes of a regular meeting of council held on Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021 is contained on pages 1 through 6, inclusive of the minute book.
Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Item 7, you have a list of 5 pieces of correspondence. It's there for your information. If you ever want to bring something forward on that, you could refer to the clerk and we'll get it to a future agenda. Item 8, the consent agenda. We have a resolution.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, seconded by Councillor Tate. Resolved that the items listed under consent agenda, items 8.2 to 8.5, be approved as recommended.
Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Staff reports, we have a resolution to receive Dan's report from tonight.
Moved by Councillor Tate, seconded by Councillor Hatfield. Resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Wawa does hereby receive staff report DB 2021-02 report for the month of February 2021, a copy of which is attached here too.
Questions? All in favor? Carried, thank you. There's no business arising from previous. Under new business, 11.1, approve removal of curling ice resolution.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, seconded by Councillor Tate. Resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Wawa does hereby direct staff to cancel curling activities effective Friday, March 19, 2021, and commence the removal of the curling ice in preparation of the mass immunization clinics for the COVID vaccine.
Questions? All in favor? Carried, thank you. 11.2, approve extension of arena ice season resolution.
Moved by Councillor Chason, seconded by Councillor Reese. Resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Wawa does hereby approve the extension of the arena ice season to date is blank 2021, provided that the curling ice service is available for the mass immunization clinics when required, as approved by the CAO. So what this is saying is that the ice extension may be earlier or it may be later, and it's all dependent on how the ice melt is occurring at the curling rink. And
But I thought we were going to put down a specific date.
yeah, that's still
April
blank.
1st.
Yep,
Okay,
April 1st.
April 1st is
Okay.
specific, and Alex is to report back. If need be, if council will be here on the 23rd. So that, between Thursday night this
So
week,
I'm gonna do this.
when you turn the plan off, I hope you're there Thursday right after, maybe even a half hour before, to see if those guys can throw the rock down when it starts to melt. Once it gets off, you're gonna have 5 days, at which time progress you're making, and if there is some problem that you think you may not get it out, then what that means is we would come back and consider everything, and therefore the arena ice will come out before April 1st. But we're hoping that with 2.5 weeks and some mild weather, we'll be able to do it, maybe a little harder, but it'll be worth it to be able to keep the hockey ice in for another 2 weeks.
We ran summer ice in there one time.
Yeah, we
They
did.
did.
Yeah,
We had hockey practice schools in the summer one time.
yeah, that's right.
So-
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So, Kathy, did you have to reread that, or you got?
I have it as April 1st, 2021.
Okay.
Yep.
And
Do you want me to leave that part in though, provided the curling ice service is available for the mass immunization clinics?
Well, that's a separate thing.
I don't think we need that. I think we're gonna go to April 1st, and Alec has direction, we don't need it in the resolution, he has direction from back to us on the 23rd if he believes there'll be a problem getting the curling ice ready for April 1st or just after Easter, whatever he thinks they need it.
Okay,
Is
so
that fair enough for everybody?
do you want me to reread the 2 separate ones? So I'll reread the
Okay,
correct
sure.
one, okay?
Make sure.
So moved by Councillor Reese, seconded by Councillor Chason. Resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Wawa does hereby approve the extension of the arena ice season to April 1st, 2021.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Any questions, all in favor? Carried.
I'm not in favor of this, Mayor. I didn't ask them.
Okay, but I saw enough hands to pass.
I should have asked. Could I ask you a question? When you want a recorded vote, when do you do that?
You should do it before we got called a vote, not after. So that's.
I didn't know.
Yeah,
I
okay.
just think it should be shown.
So, we're moving to 11.3, which says to confirm the commitment. Now, that we don't normally come across this too often, but all of our resolutions have to be written in positive. So this resolution will say that we are joining If you don't want to, then you have to vote no, so not in favor, if that's the case, all right? Just, so once the resolution is read, correct, Kathy, am I correct? Okay,
Go ahead.
yes,
Moved by Councillor Chason, seconded by Councillor Reese, whereas the municipality of Wawa is a member of the Northeast Superior Regional Broadband Network, which was founded to facilitate the development, installation, and operation of a broadband network to promote economic growth, resiliency, and improved access to health and education services in each of the member communities. And whereas the NSRBN member communities entered into a collaboration agreement setting out the internal structure, roles, and responsibilities of the NSRBN organization. And whereas the Corporation de Développement Économique de Communautaire de Duberville, on behalf of the NSRBN and the Crown Capital Partners, Inc., entered into a memorandum of understanding dated February 11, 2020, setting out the basis for cooperation between the NSRBN and Crown for the project. And whereas negotiations between the NSRBN and Crown have progressed to the point where a non-binding term sheet setting out the specifics of the proposed collaboration has been prepared, and whereas it is necessary to confirm the municipality of Wawa's commitment to the project in order to allow the project to proceed. Now therefore be it resolved that 1, the municipality of Wawa is committed to proceeding as an equal partner in the project. 2, the municipality of Wawa approves the non-binding term sheet attached hereto as Schedule A and authorizes the proper officers to enter into, execute, and deliver the term sheet on behalf of the municipality of Wawa. 3, the municipality of Wawa agrees in principle to provide an anchor commitment as generally set out in the term sheet, final approval of which will be subject to review and approval of the terms and conditions of an anchor commitment legal agreement. And 4, the municipality of Wawa acknowledges the timeline to finalize binding legal agreements and agrees to do all things necessary to meet this timeline.
so that it always has to be written in the positive,
Okay.
so if,
What'd they say?
pardon?
What did she say?
Well, she basically said that we're joining and we agree to everything. So if we did agree to the terms, because we thought it was too long and too expensive, then.
Did you want me to reread the operative again?
What?
The operative statements in the resolution? Did you want me to reread that part?
Please.
Now therefore be it resolved that the municipality of Wawa is committed to proceeding as an equal partner in the project. 2, the municipality of Wawa approves the non-binding term sheet attached hereto as Schedule A and authorizes the proper officers to enter into, execute, and deliver the term sheet on behalf of the municipality of Wawa. The municipality of Wawa agrees in principle to provide an anchor commitment as generally set out in the term sheet, final approval of which will be subject to review and approval of the terms and conditions of an anchor commitment legal agreement. And 4, the municipality of Wawa acknowledges the timeline to finalize binding legal agreements and agrees to do all things necessary to meet the timeline.
See, that part of the resolution would never be written saying will not. You know, you don't even go negative, you always have a positive. Then when it comes up to the vote, if you're not in favor of that, then you vote that way. So I'll call the questions. Those in favor? Those opposed? The resolution is not carried. Thank you. 11.4, approve write-down debt expense Michigan Golf Club resolution.
Moved by Councillor Reese, seconded by Councillor Chason, whereas the municipality of Wawa entered into a loan agreement with the Mishpachatan Golf Club through the passage of bylaw number 2981-16 dated August 9, 2016 to purchase new capital equipment. And whereas the agreement set out that the loan would be paid back over a period of time without interest and no terms of conditions were developed requiring a minimal annual repayment or term of the loan. And whereas at the end of December 31, 2020, the outstanding loan balance was $111,191.80. And whereas the Mishpacotton Golf Club has requested the municipality of Wawa to approve a reduction of $77,900, which equals the amount of the 2020 purchases of needed equipment to main the golf course facility in lieu of cash payments to the municipality to the outstanding loan balance, bringing the amount owing as of March 16, 2021 to $33,291.80. And whereas given the importance of the golf course to the community from a social, recreational, and economic viewpoint, Municipal Council supports the request of the Mishpacotton Golf Club to reduce the equipment loan for any capital purchases with proof of payment for the said equipment. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Wawa does hereby authorize the repayment of the loan by the Mishpacotton Golf Club to the Municipality of Wawa and approves the $7,900 in 2021.
Any further questions on that one? All in favor? Carried, thank you. So, notice under next motion, our operating budget will be presented at a special meeting next Tuesday, 6:30. Bylaws,
Moved by Councillor Shaso, seconded by Councillor Reese. Resolved that the following bylaws be introduced and read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed, and that the mayor and clerk do sign and seal the same. Any rule of this council to the contrary notwithstanding. Bylaw number 3373-21 to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held on the 16th day of March 2021. Bylaw number 3374-21 to authorize the corporation of the municipality of Wawa to enter into an agreement with Her Majesty the Queen and Right of Ontario as represented by the Minister of Transportation regarding funding under the dedicated tax funds for public transportation program 2020-2021 guidelines and requirements. Bylaw number 3375-21 to enter into an agreement with Her Majesty the Queen and Right of the Province of Ontario as represented by the Sault Ste. Marie Central Ambulance Communications Centre for the provision of fire dispatch services, and bylaw number 3376-21 to adopt policy number PE001, municipal cannabis retail stores policy for the municipality of Wawa.
any questions on any of the bylaws? Yes.
13.5, we had some questions last council meeting. Did they change some of the areas for sensitive areas?
Yes, we've removed all of the sensitive areas. We just kept in the school zone areas as required under the Education Act.
Okay, thanks.
Seeing no further questions, all in favor? Carried, thank you. We have a resolution to go into closed session.
Moved by Councillor Reese, seconded by Councillor Shiesel. Resolved that this committee proceed in camera at 7:47 p.m. in order to address the following matters pertaining to: 1, a legal issue, 1 item, an application made under Section 357 of the Municipal Act, personal matters about an identifiable individual, and another, number 2, a legal issue, 1 item, FOI request 2021-01, a request made under the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, if the council, board, or commission or other body is the head of the institution for the purposes of the Act.
All in favor? Carried, thank you. We'll take a couple minutes and want to thank you for being here tonight.
But there's no public out there anyway, or it hasn't been opened website.
Don't forget to come back.
For the mayor.
Thank you, Bill.
There's no public out there anyway, or it hasn't been opened.
Don't forget to come back.
And then
What?
YouTube. Go to the internet. On the bottom.
For the mayor.
Thank you, Bill.
Are we all set to go?
There's no public out there anyway, or it hasn't been
I'd like
opened.
to turn up the volume.
Muted.
Don't forget to come back. Why is it just repeating? You just turn it on.
And then
What?
Can we just go ahead and do this?
Thank you, Bill. Oh, turn yours off.
go ahead.
So item 15, business arising from the closed session, accept staff recommendation under the application of section 351 of the Municipal Act of a resolution.
Moved by Councillor Chason, seconded by Councillor Reese. Resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Wawa does hereby accept the recommendation of the Deputy Treasurer and further approve the adjustment in property taxes in the credit amount of $296.98 to be applied to roll number 57760004-104000000.
Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Our next meeting will be Tuesday, April the 6th. I just need a mover to adjourn.
Moved by Councillor Reese
Oh, you got it.
that the meeting close at 8:12 p.m.
All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thoughts on the agenda? Thank you very much, folks.
Lori, did you look the camera?